I ended up going to Latin America, and then I fell in love with a man I met in the jungle and married him. I just transferred it over to the concrete jungle. I live in a woods, in a park, in Zone 2 in London. It's kind of nuts, right? I always think it looks a little bit like a Mad Max vibe. Welcome to Zambezi, come inside.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're meeting up with Frankie, who's combined alternative living with city living.
We hope you enjoy the video. Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you want to support the channel, make sure to give us a sub. Also, Frankie's got a cookbook out and we're doing a giveaway with 3 of the books, so stick around to the end to find out how to enter. Back to it.
I am Frankie and I live on a boat in London within a community, permanently moored. I've been living here for about 4.5 years, something like that. I guess it kind of started with living in the jungle. Yeah, so I went to a festival, Burning Man, I don't know if you know that festival. And that was when I decided I was gonna stop taking drugs so much. And then after that I was like, I'm not ready to go home. And then I ended up going to Latin America. And then I fell in love with a man I met in the jungle and married him like six weeks or something later, and ended up living in communities and took away everything I knew to be true about myself to see what was left, which was brutal but amazing. But within that I learned kind of how to connect with nature, which I believe we all have, we've just forgotten. Anyway, fast forward 5 years I was there, and then we came back, and my whole intention within that was like how we were sitting in the Caribbean, was living like what everyone would imagine like the paradise. And it was like, I either stay here and I have kids and just live in this community and like cook over the fire and watch the stars, which is amazing. But it was like, if I've kind of gone through all of my, I guess like my demons and like my addictions, I need to go home and actually see if that is still a thing. So I kind of came back to London and we found our way. Our relationship kind of ended because, well, I mean, he was from the jungle, never had a mobile phone or a bank account, and was like, this is fucked. And then, and we're still really good friends, but after that, I then was like, okay, I want to live on a boat. And I always knew I wanted to live on a boat, but he never did because of the cold. Yeah, and then I just one day went online, I found this boat, but I always knew I wanted to be permanently moored because of my work and stuff. And I found Zambezi. To buy a permanently moored boat is a little bit more expensive, especially in London. So the boat was 60k, it was actually meant to be more than that.
When people think of like living alternatively and things, they might think about living in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the wilderness. What's it like, what's your perspective on like living in a city but living this way?
I guess the thing is with me living in a jungle, I fucking love the jungle. Like I loved living like that sense of community. But I also love London, like I don't want to leave London. Like I love it, I love the diversity, the arts, the culture, the madness of the people, all in this confined space. So for me, it's like, that was a big, I guess my intention, right? To find balance within a city. And a lot of people say to me like, how do you live in London? It's so intense. It's like, I fucking thrive in London, like the chaos, but also I live within like a park almost, you know? So I live that kind of jungle life. I connect to the elements, I light my fire, I fill the water tank, I have purpose within that. And that kind of really helps my mental health, which I guess is kind of the jungle living on some extent. I just transferred it over to the concrete jungle. That was it. And I guess living within a community is good, but I also have my privacy. So if I want to go to dinner around someone's house or vice versa, it's available. I feel like people always are really surprised by that. They're always like, what, you love London? It's like, I fucking love it. Like, you know, I'm able to work and earn good money and it enables me to travel lots. And yeah, the work that I do, I meet lots of different people.
So what do you do then? How do you fund this lifestyle, and is it a cheap way of living?
I mean, it depends in terms of what's cheap. Like it's a lot cheaper than I have to pay for my permanent mooring. but in comparison to like 1-bedroom flats in this area that I live in, it's like 1,800, whereas this is like a quarter of that, just to kind of stay in the same space. So I work on retreats around the world, plant medicine retreats, and I also do supper clubs. So but the whole concept is an intimate space with strangers, so no one knows each other. I don't know, everyone's so on their phone, I think we just need to deeper connect. So having the supper clubs, the focus is on food, but yeah, by the end of the night you feel like you've known these people like your whole life, and you learn their struggles. Some people talk about their anxiety and some people with depression, and like maybe you've never even spoken about your own or even realised you had it. And all of a sudden you can just feel that like connection. And I feel like that is massively missing in a society. And in London, which is like a huge city, but most people feel alone in this city. And it's not all like a therapy session, like we sing, like there's poetry, you know, it's about the food, we learn about foraging, so there's like lightness to it, but the concept of it is like meeting each other in love and pain, because ultimately that's all there is, right? Welcome to Zambezi, come inside. It's a narrowboat and it is 50 foot. This is the kitchen. So this is where I create all my plant magic. Everything's hidden away but easy access. Loads of ingredients. So people always ask me if like, oh, do you shower on your boat? It's like, yeah, I shower on my boat nearly every day. This is gas, so it's plugged into the gas, and I have hot water all the time, and I have a stove. I actually have a pretty big oven as well, so it's like 2 ovens, you know, so it's like a serious oven for some serious cooking. So the fridge, yeah, it's just a normal fridge, which is like just a normal fridge full of loads of vegetables. That works off grid as well with the solar panels, but I'm plugged in, so actually I can have as much electric. Because I shower every day and like I'm cooking all the time, so I'm using a lot of water. I probably have to fill my water tank like once a week.
How many litres?
I don't know. I actually have looked at the thing, I have no idea. I'm more of like, how does it feel? No, I'm joking. No, it just lasts me for like 10 days max, that would be it.
So is this a cosy place to live the way you've got it?
Yeah, well cosy. I bet you guys don't even want to leave. I'm joking. Yeah, it is, it's cosy. I kind of wanted to create, I guess, like cottage vibes, hence my fabrics, just to kind of make it feel as homely as possible. Like some boats, if you go on, they're quite like cluttered. And like, you know, there's like a table and stuff, and I didn't want that. I just wanted as much space as possible. And the kitchen actually takes up quite a lot of space, but there's really good storage, you know, even in that underneath there, I store shoes and stuff where you guys are. So anyway, here I have like my herbs and spices and all the bits, my pantry. So I've got my logs here, and in here I have like my coal and kindling and all the bits. Yeah, so that's where all of that's kept. And it's also really good ballast for the boat, because everything heavier is on this side, like the stove and the oven. Having a couple of bags of coal in there just help kind of weight that out. This is my God, I'm not checking. This is, yeah, this keeps me warm and it heats the whole boat up. And to be honest, like when I go and visit friends, because I think it's gas and electric is so expensive now, when I go to theirs, it's like fucking freezing most of the time. And I'm like, can you put the heating on? Because here, you just either cold or you're hot. There's no in between. So it's just like, I'm used to living in the tropics, even in, once you get past -2 though, like, yeah, it's a little bit cold, but I'm warmer here than any house and any friend's house I've been in, to be honest, of late. This is my living room, so it's quite minimal, but these sofas can be moved, and I usually put them on the roof or in the bedroom when I do the supper clubs. And I have 2 tables that go in the middle, and then everyone just sits in cushions. Yeah, it's just like a cozy space. And then I have my altar. Sometimes just lighting candles and just having a moment where you're like, okay, I'm gonna light these candles, I'm gonna put some incense on. I guess it's my place that reminds me to just be still, connect, light a candle. My drum, AKA my mini table. I got these because they can move, but also I can put things underneath them. So I've got more wood under there, again, ballast for the boat, and easy access, so I'm not having to go outside and collect wood all the time. This is like my hallway. Books. Love books. There's loads of them here. Some are from my grandmother from like the 60s and stuff, and they've got like notes from her from like homeopathic hospitals in like the 1920s and stuff, which is pretty cool. And then in here is my bathroom, and I have like a portable toilet that I just empty like once a week or every 2 weeks, and then shower in here and stuff too. So this is my bedroom. I have storage underneath here, so I have like my shoes, I have quite a lot of clothes. There's just like 3 drawers, and then underneath like I lift the mattress up and there's all panels, so the whole thing can be filled full of stuff. So there's loads of storage. To be honest, I have so much storage here I don't even fill it all. I can lay on my bed and then I watch the sunrise from my bed every morning. It comes up just behind where you're filming, and then also the moon as well, like I can see it through the thing. So sometimes I just don't even leave my bed. I'm just like, ah, nature. And then in the summer, obviously these doors stay open quite a lot. And to be honest, it is all about nature. I think coming from the jungle and listening to my stories of my grandmother, like she really does believe mental health wasn't such a big thing back in the day. And I do think it's because we're saturated with information all the time, what with like podcasts or TV or work or computers or Instagram, it's all the time. So it's like actually, I think for me, it's really important to just stop and actually just like have nothing to do and just be in the nothingness. And for some people it's really uncomfortable, but I know that I need that even when I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that, and fill my time with seeing friends or going for dinners and stuff. So yeah, nature for me is like my absolute guide and my muse, to be honest. That's where it all comes from. Without her, we don't live, right? So this, I mean, obviously it's winter now, but I usually have like edible herbs and like cushions and all of that. And this is usually kind of like a couch den outside. Whereas when you live in a small space, you actually, having this in like spring to autumn is amazing. You just feel like you've just been gifted a whole nother room. I guess this is like known as the sunbathing spot. Like that's where we all come, like my friends, we come and you can lay down and there's no wind and you can be naked and just like feel the sun and eat fruit, and it's just great. So yeah, this is yeah, I guess my garden actually, or my terrace. So this is where I fill the water tanks. The water is underneath here. Just fill it up with a hose pipe that connects to kind of the mains of water. So I've got 2 solar panels, and then you've got the log flute, and then the air ventilations, these like alien looking things. Yeah, there's like air ventilation for the boat. So yeah, and then I'm just like on the back of some woods, which is like a private woods. And that's kind of where we have bonfires, like as like a community, or I invite friends round. Yeah, it's just like kind of, it's nice. Like I live in a woods, in a park, in Zone 2 in London. It's kind of nuts, right? This is where the gas, oh God, where the gas is. So I changed the gas canister here, and this is what gives me heat, gives my showers are warm, and like pumping oven. And also these lockers are like, oh God, are really good for like storage. So there's another one in there, and these can be, it's all about storage in a boat, like, or in small spaces you just need storage. I've kind of done a tally actually recently of like, I think I spent for the winter from October till now is like basically March, for the wood was 120 quid, and I've gone through 2 things of gas, so that's 220 quid I've spent for the whole winter to keep me warm, to shower, to do all the bits. And I think if you compare that, that's fucking loads cheaper, I think. Walking the plank. So this is like an old washing machine drum. These are great to have fires in. And then we just sit around here and just, I don't know, like sometimes a few of us will just be like, let's have a fire, or sometimes I do foraging things and come back here and like cook things up to show people how they can use the ingredients. I always think it looks a little bit like a Mad Max vibes, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's cute in its own way. Do you have to be a certain type to live like this? I don't know. I think people surprise us, like what is a certain type? I also think as humans, like we actually have survival skills within us, like, but we've lost that survival, and I think that's what I love about it. The pandemic was such an example of that. We're so creatures of comfort now, and actually humans were not built for that. Like we need to have that survival energy, like it's innate in us. I think that's why mental health is, especially in men, like they were like the protectors and they'd go out and get the food, and that's just gone, you know? So it's like our roles in society have changed. You know, we don't have to chop wood, we don't have to find safety or anything. It's taken away. So as our human instinct of survival, that's gone, and I do think we need that. And living on a boat, you do have to have a little bit of survival, and I'm sure in other off-grid kind of spaces. So I do have plug-in electric, which I don't need to use, but I do use it. But I mean, I light my fire and fill the water tank up. So there's a level of off-grid, empty my toilet, obviously. There's a level of grid within that, I guess, if you compare it to a normal house, you know. But like what people always say to me, how are the winters? And for me, working with the seasons is like the perfect thing to help me with my mental health. So like chopping wood for the fire, feeding my fire, and like I guess like our ancestors, the indigenous, the fire was like what we would pray to and what we would do. So I'm just, I don't know, I have so much respect for it, and it sounds so silly maybe to some people, but feeding the fire, if I have a bad day, just like giving my like shit to the fire basically, and it transforms, and basically I love the fire. What is my favourite thing? Going out to the outside to the world and coming home and lighting the candles and just like listening to the birds or listening to the wind, and it's like, am I in London? Am I in the jungle? Like, I'm just in nature, and that's, I guess, my only focus, right? Is like to just really be with nature. So I guess like that's my favourite thing. It's like I'm able to live in a city and be connected to nature, and I have community and friends. And the thing that I don't like about living on a boat, I mean, there's things, obviously emptying the toilet. When I go away on retreats, coming back, the boat's like fucking freezing, and it takes time to warm that up. So like before I leave, like if I'm doing a retreat, I have to walk to my car like 25 times with like ingredients and blenders, and it's fucking long, to be honest. It's like probably an extra half a day to kind of live this way for work.
So you're kind of in the city but out the rat race?
Yeah, I'm in the city and out the rat race. And like, I used to be like, oh, the rat race, but I actually think we need people for everything, you know? Some people work good in a 9 to 5 and they need order. I don't work well like that. Like, I need to every day kind of it be a bit spontaneous, like structure, and that's why I have my permanent mooring, I guess. But yeah, that is, I think for me it was more like, I don't want my work to be my life. I want my life to be my life, and that should be my main focus, and work should fit around that. I love cooking, always cooking. Like, I grew up in a house where working class family, and the doors were always open and there was always food. So then I guess as I got older and living in the jungle, I started to cook a lot more. And when you're coming off of like doing a lot of drugs, your body kind of starts to detox quite a lot. So then I kind of got into healthy food. When I first started doing the supper clubs, it was more about just getting people together and get excited about vegan food. That was like 10 years ago. People had no idea. And then they just evolved. And then I realised that as the world and social media was getting bigger, the world kind of felt a little bit smaller on some level. And I wanted to kind of create the intimacy of that. So I have a book. So I kind of, the whole concept that what I do is like, I guess was intriguing for some, and then a book came out of it, and it's a recipe book with like stories and tales of the supper clubs and foraging tips, and just kind of about finding balance in a kind of fast-paced world with like fusing the ancient world with the modern world actually. So and all of it is done in this tiny kitchen. I even cook for like 11 people at a time in this little boat, and we all sit here, you know. This is what I'm making, it's called Stay Up Till Sunrise. So to stay awake with my friends who love to party hard, I started creating like potions and things to help me stay up till sunrise. And then I do one that's called Chill the Fuck Out. So it's like, don't take Valium, take this. So this has got cacao in it actually. So what it does is it releases the love chemical in your brain. So they have connected it to like the same feeling as ecstasy. It's like, yeah, the love chemical. So that's cacao. It's a heart opener, exactly, it's a heart opener. And then we've got like cayenne pepper, which is like to ignite passion, cinnamon to kind of balance the blood sugars, maca, which is actually heightens your libido, and then coconut sugar, because it gives it like a caramel taste and doesn't give you the energy spike of like up and then down. So it doesn't take long, and you just mix, and it's like, now I've just created a Stay Up Till Sunrise potion. Cayenne pepper ignites passion, it makes you smile from the inside out. Like chili has been medicine for thousands of years. You know, there's all these things that we forget, that also they have a science behind them, but actually like the old wives' tales, if you like, that have been passed down for like hundreds of years. I love a good story, and I think every plant has a story that we need to kind of remember, you know? So I guess you can find me on, I have a website called Moody Mango, and again my Instagram is Moody Mango Alchemy. So all of the stuff there is like my events and everything, and then also you can buy my book through that as well. Oh yeah, and the link behind that will be below.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in again there, and a big thanks to Frankie for sharing everything with us and showing us around. Make sure you give her a follow and check her out, all the links will be linked below.
And as we mentioned, we're doing a giveaway with 3 of her books, so if your comment includes the words Frankie down below, then we'll pick 3 random winners over the next week or so. So make sure your comment includes the words Frankie and you'll be in for the chance to win. See you in the next one.